I want to talk to you about how relationships and this coaching search and how it all seems to like kind of blend together. It's like rules that you should have already learned from dating, right? Sitcoms and everything. It's like, and I'm just going to point it out, right? It's just reminds me of all of that. If you got, what's the old saying? If you got two quarterbacks, you got no quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Right? So the first thing I bring it up, the first everything that reminded me of it is we had Bruce Pearl, right?
Yes.
And everybody loved Bruce Pearl, and then he got in trouble and had to go away, right? And then it's like we got Konzo, and it was like, yay, we like Konzo, but man, remember when we had that other girl, right? It was like when you're trying to, I don't know, a player trying to date two girls at once, or even a girl that's had two boyfriends at the same time, right? If you got one that you're like, oh, I'm liking this one, but you're cheating on this one, you think you got two, and you're like, well, I'm going to break up with one and actually stay with the other one, and then boom. The one you wanted to break up with, you break up with them, and then you go to the new relationship, and all of a sudden, bam, that one leaves you too, and you think you can go back to the other one. Turns out she's dating somebody down now in Auburn, right?
All right.
And so now you're left, you thought you had two girlfriends, now you got no girlfriends.
Right.
Right, and that's how I always thought of the Bruce and Konzo situation. So I thought about how it goes all the way back to when we had Fulmer, right?
Right.
And I thought about how it just reminded me of relationships forever, right? Like you got that girl or your guy, right? You're in a relationship, and it's like for me, right? You got the girlfriend you're with forever. She was with you from college, through school, through everything, and then stuck with you after school, and all the parties are great, right? Every Saturday she throws the best party. Everybody comes over to the house. It is great. But after a little while, then you have that one really great party in 98. Remember that party in 98?
Oh, I remember that one.
The ribs were like just falling off the bone.
Wonderful time.
Everybody was hanging out. It was great. Everybody in the town's marriage was wonderful. That's how good her parties were.
Oh, yeah.
It was wonderful. And then all of a sudden, after 98, people were kind of getting in your ear. They're like, hey, man, these parties aren't as good as they used to be. I really don't know what's going on here. And you start listening to those people in your ear, and you're like, you know what? You're right. I can do better. They start telling you can do better. There's other people out there, right? There's, why don't you see what's going on? So all of a sudden, you think you're big stuff now, and you break up with that person that's been with you forever, right? Just because the parties weren't as good. And what happens? Now you're feeling real messed up and lonely. Like you've had this one relationship for so long, and all of a sudden, what do? You freak out. You drive out west, Tori. You just go all the way to California, right? You're looking at the views. You're thinking, oh, man, I came out of this relationship. I'm feeling good. I'm in my new drop-top car. I'm going to drive it all the way to the West Coast. And you wind up and you meet that blonde girl, right? You meet that blonde person that's way out of your league. You're thinking, oh, man, you're the new hot girlfriend. I can't wait to take you back. So you're out there in California, and you're living that California life. You're feeling good. You're feeling great. Even though her granddaddy told you right there, don't listen to her. Don't listen to her. She's a liar. Don't listen to her. You don't care. You come back all the way from California, brand new girlfriend. You come back, and it's great. But you're hanging out. The parties are seeming a little awesomer. People are like, oh, hey, I like this new girl you're hanging out with. This is all so great. And even though she's like getting you in trouble a little bit here and there, it's like, okay, it doesn't matter because the future's going to be great with her. It's going to be wonderful. And then as that relationship's progressing, all of a sudden, right there in the middle of the night, she leaves you for that boyfriend that you knew she still loved out there in California. Just in the middle of the night, just takes off, goes out to California, leaves you. Now you're sitting there crying. You're laying there, you're crying. People are burning couches. You're so upset. You're listening to music. You're throwing your great records away. You're like, baby, come back. Oh, any kind of fool could see. But she don't care. She don't care. She ran back out to that boyfriend. You knew she was too good for you. So you're sitting there, you're freaking out, you're crying, you're burning your couch. You don't know what to do. So you're looking there, and you're like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And you can't go back to that other girlfriend because now she don't want to have nothing to do with you.
No.
Right? You shouldn't have left me. I saw what you did. You went out to California, started acting crazy, came back in here, started getting yourself in trouble. Now you're coming back to me. Well, you can't do that. So now you lost that girl. What do? You head on down to Louisiana. You go some tent revival, and you pick up some girl whose daddy used to be something in Georgia, right? And you bring her home. You're thinking, okay, after I had a long-term girlfriend, then I had the crazy little one-year stand with this girlfriend, and now this girl's gonna come home. She says cute things like, say britches again. Say britches again. You love it, man. Look, her daddy used to be something down there, but her mama just keep getting on the radio talking about, y'all need to give her a chance. Well, the parties are kind of good, but then all of a sudden at the end of the party, she's throwing these parties on Saturday. Everybody's coming over. They're liking it. They're loving the britches. They're like, oh, man, those are great pants. Where did you get those? And everybody's loving it. They're coming over. But then right there, right near the end of the party, something just happens. She knocked over the punch. She pulls her gun out because you bit her grilled cheese. She's doing something. And all of a sudden, that's all you can think about. It's like, man, and you keep telling your friends, what do you tell them? She's not always like this. It's not always like this. Well, about after 3 years, guess what? She's always like that. right? So you got to break up. You got to get it. You're like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And now you can't go back to that original girlfriend.
No.
She hates you. The other girl, she done moved on.
Yeah.
She's with that new hot boyfriend out there in California that she's always dreamed to be with.
Yeah.
And now this girl that you said, oh, it ain't always like it. It ain't always, boom, it's always like that. You got to get rid of her. So now you're crying again. You don't know what to do. You start looking at the television and you're like, oh, wow, there's that girl I never had a shot with back in the day on TV up there talking about football on Monday night. I'm in love. But you can't get that girl yet. That girl don't even want to have nothing to do with you. Just like she never wanted to have nothing to do with you back when she was a graduate assistant at your college. She don't care about you. So what do? You start looking around. You're like, man, I need somebody with some school spirit. Where do you get the most school spirit? So what do? You start looking up at the band, Tori, and you see that one trumpet player up there. Bowie's up there with that trumpet, and you're like, oh, they love the school. They can't wait to be school spirited, and brick by brick, we're going to build these parties back together again, and it's going to be great. And you're hanging out with her, and you're thinking it's good because they're just pumping you full of trumpet music and great slogans, and the parties are going great. And then all of a sudden, they're just not as great as they used to be. The parties start falling apart again, and it doesn't matter how loud she plays the trumpet. You just got to be like, I'm done with it. I'm gone away. But now everybody knows that you're just bad in relationships. You're going through this turmoil. You're in this like a midlife crisis. You can't do anything about it. So you start looking around again. You start staring at the TV, chasing dreams, and you're sitting there and you're like, maybe I can really get with this girl that used to hang out with us back in the day that I always kind of had a crush on, but now she's on the television. She's making big money. She don't want to have nothing to do with you. No. The whole world don't want to have nothing to do with you. You're just basically walking around like you got scabies on and you can't do nothing. You're a leper. Now you're just wandering around and you're looking like at last call at every bar with a bunch of stamps on our hand right now, wearing the same clothes we had on last Thursday, talking about, look at this is my lucky shirt, but we haven't had anybody go home with us in forever. It's last call. We're looking around and nobody's making eye contact. It's the scariest thing. What you did was we messed up. You never should have left that girl that stayed with us from college, but you can't think about that. You can't think about that girl what left you for that boy and you know, it's California. Now that boy don't want to have nothing to do with her. No. She had to go live in Alabama. You know what happens to people out there that have been to Alabama? They go crazy. So now you're just stuck. We're just all these stamps on our hand, Tori, all these stamps and all these drink tickets, and we have nobody to ride home with, and it's just the worst. Man, I'm telling you, always be happy with what you have. It's 7:41 in the morning. I'm Jake James, and this is the morning after on Knoxville's new, true, and only alternative, 94 Z Rocks.